Hi, Orange Girl here with another video for you of my process as I am creating my December daily. I'm going to use this photograph of Steve Earle, and I already have the journaling typed up and on a tag. That will change a little bit. I have these two photographs of my daughter watching the Christmas Chronicles for the first time. That was kind of a new movie for us this year. And my idea is I want to hide the journaling underneath that photo. And that's all I know. I thought about using this paper because of the dark green on the left, but I end up going back to this. I still want to use that paper though, that I'm not using this time. I have these little notes that are from Colorcast Designs. They're little wood veneer, and I'm going to use those because this is all about our trip to Fairfield, Iowa, which is a couple of hours from us, and not quite 2 hours, but and we drove in the fog to get there on a weeknight. But this was one of my birthday gifts, and so this concert was, and so it happened to be during December daily time, so that was my story for the day. The peace, love, joy tag I thought was appropriate because if you know Steve Earle's work, he is definitely a part of a peace movement, let's just say. He's pretty active politically and I would say in favor of humans. That was my wine. I promise you I'm not drinking wine now, but I was when I created this. Let's see. So I thought I would use that wood grain paper because it would tie the two pages together a little bit because I'm using the wood veneers on the left side. And so now I'm just searching. I didn't have a lot of stuff out. I knew I wanted to use the notes, and that was about it. So now I'm just kind of looking for green things and black and white things. And I'm going to pull some of these out. That's from the chipboard from crepe paper, and I don't end up using them, but I found some green and I found some black that are similar, both botanical, type things, and which goes with that right page, but then I don't end up using them. Right there, when I put my fingers up, I was like, oh, I forgot the numbers. So as I'm going through, I'm looking for green, I'm looking for black and white, and I start pulling some things out. Looking for pink and red because that tag, that peace, love, joy tag, has some pink on it. Her outfit on the right has some pink on it, and so I end up using some pink, pulling some pink in there. I use that card, and as I'm doing this, I'm not cussing, but but I am cussing maybe silently in my brain about how big these letters are, or numbers, excuse me. I have used these numbers since the very first layout, and so I feel like I need to see them through to the end. Because why would I change them right now? I've been using the same things. We're on day 14. I don't know. Maybe I'll give myself permission later to change, but at this point, I'm feeling like I have to use them. So I don't like the way this looks. I feel like the 14 is getting lost, and so to solve that problem, I went ahead and I cut another piece of paper, and you'll see that in just a second here. The 14 is lost, and so I decide to put wood grain all along it. So there, I went away and came back to it. I think I might even be on another day here. You can tell the lighting kind of changed. I had to walk away from it, and I came back and I decided, although in the video, the 14 looks probably almost more lost than it did before, but in real life, it stands out way better. I think you'll see that in the close-ups at the end. So my one idea here was that I really wanted to create a little interactive element on this one. A peekaboo page, a trap door. I don't really know what to call it. So if you if you think of what would be the best thing to call this, you just put that in the comments. So I'm using my fingernail just to kind of make a little straight line there. And then I'm using my bone folder to actually, make it more of a crease. I do actually have one of those boards where you can it's set up so that you can make the folding easier. But it's like behind and around something, and this was right there, so I just used my cutting machine there. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking there is I'm going to put the journaling right behind that photo. And so I've been planning out my journaling a little bit ahead of time because I'm printing them in batches. So, for example, I printed several days of journaling on one 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And then same thing, I have 8.5 by 11 photo paper, and so I'm doing the actual pictures in batches as well. And then I have a whole bunch lined up and ready to go, and so that works out really well. So I can just go down and work on a few days at a time and be done with it. Okay. So my thought is I want something that shows me that I want to lift this element up, this peekaboo door. So I'm going to put an Avery label there. It's a clear label, and I'll put something in it towards the end of my video. Okay, so on the left, day 13, I have a picture of Steve Earle, and I am, by the way, everything that I did kind of messed up, like that right there. That was very typical of this whole layout. Like, I had several things that I just cut out of the video that I had to do twice because the first time I did something silly and like trying to put the tape on the tissue paper rather than on the photograph. Like, why would I do that? I don't know, but I did. Anyway, so I ended up putting tissue paper behind that photo and then the photo over on the left. So let's talk about Steve Earle. Steve Earle is one of my most favorite musicians. And his sister, Stacy Earle, is also one of my most favorite musicians. So much so that my online persona, Orange Girl, comes from the spelling of girl comes from Earle, because Steve Earle's last name is Earle. And so I got Girl from that. Actually, I got Girl from Stacy Earle, who is his sister, who I like equally. I might like her more, honestly, but don't make me choose, all right? And Stacy has a record company called Gearle Records, Gearle. And that's where I got my name, the spelling of my name, Orange Girl. And I done stole it from her, that's what she'd say. And so I really like him, let's just say that. And I appreciated his concert so much. It was wonderful. And my journaling for that day says, in October, I received tickets to a Steve Earle concert as part of my birthday present. The show was in Fairfield, Iowa, about 100 minutes away on a Thursday. B stayed with G and G Braun overnight so we could attend the show. Steve did not disappoint. There was fog on the way, and it's so dark this time of year, but we made it there and back, and to work the next day. Go us. Hashtag still my birthday. Because it kind of feels like it's still your birthday when you're going to birthday concerts, right? So I used that. I might have a little bit. But anyway, so that is my journaling. Then on the other side, behind that photo in that little trapdoor peekaboo interactive element that I don't know what to call, it says, I am always up for a new movie. Friends across the internet and in real life have recommended the movie The Christmas Chronicles, and so we decided a Friday night after a long week was a great night for a movie. It was a hit with B, and I liked the magic of Christmas explained. It totally helped keep the magic alive in our house. And I'll let you know that when we first started watching it, I was like, oh my goodness, this boy is a teenager, and he is going to tell his little sister that Santa doesn't exist. And I was a little worried about what was going to happen as we were watching this. And then I realized that what was really going to happen was it was going to explain how Santa does some of his magical things, and that in the end, of course, this teenage boy starts to believe again if he had stopped. So it's a good show. It was nice, and I really liked that it was something that she enjoyed. So, okay, so yeah, so my tape runner ran out. So that was another thing that happened as I was trying to do this. So anyway, here's another one. You ready? Okay, so I'm gonna cut around my ideas. I'm gonna cut around the outside of this so that I can put it right on the tag that is wood grain. And I cut off a word or part of a word. I cut it way too close. And so my idea, which I'm going to show you here, even though this won't work, is to just put it right like that, but to have that wood grain paper peeking out because it kind of ties the two pages together. So I table that for a little while, and then off screen I'll reprint it and put it back in there. And you'll see that in a minute. So these are kind of cool. These are like little, I don't know, like velvet holly leaves. And yeah, they look kind of cool. I like them. All right, so this is for my manual die cut machine, this is the die that I use to create the tags that I've been using. And so what I did is I went ahead and used it as a template. So now when I cut this, I'm actually cutting it a little bit smaller than the actual tag. So theoretically, when I put this on here, it should be just a tad smaller, and it is, but it's not quite small enough. So I go back and I decided that I really wanted it to be straight at the top anyway, so I cut a little bit more off the sides, a little bit more off the bottom, and then it fits perfectly. You don't really see any of the white, I don't think, until you pull the tag out. Pretty sure. Anyway, so that's how I made that work. What else? I'm trying to decide. What else haven't I told you? Mostly what you see here is what you get. I do add a few little things at the end that kind of help it pop, help tie it together. So the little round thing that I'm using instead of holly berries down there, it is another piece of wood veneer, and it is from Color Cast Designs, as are the little notes. I've been using a lot of Color Cast in this traveler's notebook. I have a lot of it, and I used to be on their design team, and I am just finding them just perfect to work with in these traveler's notebooks. So what you saw me do there was I glued down that little black and white card there, and then I zipped it on my sewing machine just to add a little texture. No other reason, no functionality, just to add that there. And now I am ready to add a few more little elements before we're finished up here. So my tag that I'm using that says peace, love, joy has a little bit of pink on it. And I kind of went with that then to add some pops of pink across the page. So I used a pink card behind the photo of Steve Earle, and then her outfit actually that she's wearing is pajamas, and they're kind of red, but they look more pink in the photo, and so that is pink. Also, the little peekaboo trapdoor thing that I made is pink. And then I'm going to add this pink here, and then I add one more pink thing, I think. But what I just added a few seconds ago was I added fa la la in black and white below those numbers, or beside the number 13, below the wood veneer notes. And also from that same puffy sticker sheet, I added a heart that says Mary over on the right, and it's green, so it ties the two pages together, the black and white and the green. So here's another thing I did. I glued this down, which is great. Sometimes I'll just use a little bit of dotted glue to glue down when I have elements like string, those sorts of things. If I want them thread or whatever, if I want it to kind of go a certain way. But that's a tag that I have to take out, that wood grain one. So I've now glued it down, and you can't take it out. But I caught it later, before it had dried, so it's all okay. So I'm adding 3 pink pieces of enamel dots, and then I'm very carefully taking the sticky, getting it so it'll stick down, taking the backing off of these. They're really fragile. None of them broke, but I was trying to be very careful as I peeled it off so that they wouldn't break. So I put them in kind of a triangle, a visual triangle there, as I did with the enamel dots to tie the 2 pages together and to tie the whole music idea together over there on the left. And then last but not least, I am adding this. I completely forgot to put in the clear Avery label some sort of label. And so I found these stickers. They're green, so it adds a pop of green, which makes me happy. And one says believe, which I thought matched the story of the movie really nicely. And then when you flip it over and open it up, it says fa la la. So that worked out nice. There you go, and that is it. So I have day 13 and 14 in the books, and I'm super excited, and I'm still excited about finishing. I'm really thankful for all the people that have been watching and leaving nice comments. That's great. I appreciate you. Subscribe if you like what you see, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.